Daddy Pig remembered his childhood, how he used to love to go camping, make fires, and admire nature. He hadn't been outdoors for a long time and wanted to do it again. But what he didn't take into account was that he had changed since then, and that led to disastrous consequences. The mistakes started at the camping stage. He took food, water, and a tent, but the tent was too small. It was the same old tent he had slept in before. Additionally, Daddy Pig took along a raincoat that would protect them from the rain, and they went. When they arrived, they looked around. It was the nature he had missed. And as they started to settle in, they noticed that the tent was very small.
That's weird. I felt like it was much bigger.
You've grown since then, and your tummy has grown the most of all.
When it began to get dark, they built a fire. Finally, he could eat. He was tired from pitching the tent and gathering branches for the fire. His legs were sore from walking up and down the hills. All he wanted to do was just lie down and rest.
You're too big. You should have brought a bigger tent.
I like sleeping in the open air even more, though.
Daddy Pig lay down on the grass. He was uncomfortable. The small stones were digging into his back, and the ground was cold. However, there was a warm fire nearby and a beautiful night sky. It calmed and lulled him to sleep. But suddenly his stomach rumbled with hunger. He couldn't sleep hungry. He laid down his cloak and sat by the fire, trying to scrape the leftover food out of the cans. He used to have enough of this tin to fill himself up, but he hadn't taken into account that a lot of time had passed since then. He had taken too little food. It seemed like it couldn't get any worse. Now he's definitely not going to sleep here. The fire's out, and the rain will make him freeze. But there was still an option to wait in the car. He walked to the car as fast as he could to avoid getting wet and tried to open the door. He forgot his car keys in his raincoat. Because of the trees and the fact that the fire was out, he couldn't see where the tent was, but he remembered the approximate direction. But the slippery ground and his fatigue played their part. He went the wrong way and eventually realized he was lost. He tried to shout, but everyone was asleep and no one would have heard him over the noise of the rain. Camping was not successful. He just sat in the cold rain. He had already forgotten about hunger. Now, besides the fact that his legs were aching from the physical exertion, they were starting to aching from the cold. It scared him that no one would help him. He needed to take matters into his own hands. He saw a cave. It seemed dry inside. He could spend the night there, and by morning the rain would be over and he could find help. He tried to squeeze in with all his might, but his stomach clenched like in a vice. He tried to move back, but a cold stone pressed against his back. He kept trying to shift some way, but his stomach was too big. At the end, he realized that he couldn't get out, that he was stuck here and couldn't help himself. Fear and panic enveloped his body. And the next morning, his family found him, dead.